Kirklands. We'll start our tour this afternoon with a walk along the front herbaceous border. There's lots of interest at the moment, but it'll get better as we move into July and August. At the moment we have a few geraniums coming out. We have an aruncus about to come forth. There's a nice tradescantia with a few of the alliums just still in flower. And here's a magnificent Rosa moisei, and it has to get full marks because it was just coming into flower when hit by the late frost we had towards the end of May. But it's given a really good second showing, so thank you for that. As we walk down to the end of the border, the oriental poppies, Beauty of Livermore, flowered much better than usual in the warm sunshine last month. There's a nice cirsium looking at its best, and the mood changes from the sunnier herbaceous border as we walk into the woodland. I will say that this direction is to my favourite area of the garden, which is the compost heap. But that would probably be unfair to say that. I can't decide what my favourite area of the garden is. Lots of different favourites. Less in flower now, much more in the start. We can see the bluebells, the remains of the bluebells, the wooden enemies, the trilliums. I just want to leave you with almost in flower this range of fantastic lilies that we found from someone who had thrown away one plant in the woodland. We planted them up in the garden, and now they self-seed all over. We have a great collection of ferns here in this part of the woodland garden next to the old graveyard wall, but a little bit quiet at this time of year. And just so you can see our compost city, which collection of old carpets as well to keep it all warm. But just coming to the end of the compost we made last year, that's all that we have left. Our pile of leaf mould over this side, another pile of leaf mould from last year over there, and it's really the beating heart of the garden to keep it all going for future years. And I'll just leave you with just a view of the house through the trees almost, and we'll take you on a tour of other parts of the garden in a second. In the back garden behind the house, and here's a fantastic old rose hedge as we look up towards Saline Hill. The rockery is not at its best at this time of year. There's a few azaleas, a few really nice low-growing geraniums, but generally speaking the bulbs and so on come out in the early part of the year, very much a spring rockery. Many of the rhododendrons unfortunately were damaged by late frost and east wind, but a really nice place to sit in the back garden in April and May when we had the extra sunshine, though June has been more with cool damp days that some of the meconopsis and woodland plants do love. And we have against the house wall quite an impressive actinidia, again quite damaged by frost, and a really impressive geranium that flowers for quite a short time but really does well when it comes out. And as we walk back towards the front of the house, we'll hope you've enjoyed your tour of Kirklands, and hope to see you in the garden soon. Incredibly lucky at Kirklands to have a magnificent walled garden, not quite on the scale of some of the Scottish walled gardens, but a very manageable garden nonetheless. Though when we first came through this doorway to the walled garden, we saw 42 years ago, we saw 2 rows of potatoes just here, and down to our right we saw yeah, 2 ponies in a paddock, and everything was grass. Gradually over the years we've rebuilt the walls, we've planted various things, so now you see our vegetables with our spinach and our parsnips, beetroot, and under the cover, yeah, we have carrot, because we have carrot root fly, and they're a very pretty rose. I think that's Paul's Himalayan musk on the wall, and a cardoon and an artichoke growing by our shed. A greenhouse that we built in 1979. I had a bad accident and couldn't do real gardening, so the greenhouse built so I could do light gardening duties for a little over a year. Now it's home to our tomatoes and aubergines, and there's a few courgettes we haven't planted out yet. And our herb garden, the hedge came from 10 Main Street when my parents moved in there, and the occupant of 10 Main Street said it came from Gunnera in the 1940s after a big house there burnt down. A nice little seat for quiet moments of contemplation. And just as the sun comes out on our tour, we can look round the garden, our pergola there. The roses gone a little mad, perhaps those varieties are a little too vigorous for their own good. And we walk down the steps. The horses were just led down to the bottom of the paddock at this end. The steps couldn't be seen. We have lots of strawberries to go with our polytunnel strawberries as well. At the moment it's a battle between squirrels, birds, mice, every conceivable problem for strawberries. And some of our planting, quite a bit of the walled garden been taken over by the next generation of gardener here. Louisa is really getting into it. Our 2 grandsons enjoy growing strawberries. And you see our leeks. We always grow sunflowers in the wall garden just because we like them. We tend to grow the dwarf varieties, so we don't need to stake too much. And a few geraniums just to brighten up things as the crops start to grow. And against every single wall, every wall imaginable, we have a trained apple tree. I think this is Rajka, next to it is Elstar, then Sunrise and Sunset, but I think there's 17 apple trees trained against the wall, and our big cooking apples at the bottom. You can see the leeks, the onions beyond, and peas and beans down the end, and all the walls and all the terracing was done over a few years. The 2003, 2004, 2005. So we didn't have to vegetable garden on quite such a slope. That's it for the vegetable garden. Meconopsis is the variety that was at Kirklands when we came over 40 years ago. It's an infertile blue meconopsis that we've divided up each year and spread around the garden. This slope under the oak tree there was up till just a few years ago a grassy slope that was always a really annoying slope to mow. So we've done a few paths, a few steps, and planted it up. You see the remains of the trilliums, and ferns, and bluebells. Lots of bird song at this time of year. And we're going to walk up past a couple of ferns underneath our rope bridge by the tree house up to what we describe as a hosta bed, as we have here about 30 different hosta varieties, among other things. This is Liberty, a particularly bold hosta. Praying hands, a very nice slug resistant variety. Oh, June, one of our favourites for its blue borders, yellow leaves. It's a very nice little aruncus. It's getting to be quite a mound. And just behind it, a very attractive blue anemone. Oh, and here's something new we just bought last year from Brighouse Nurseries. It's a Primula Waltonii, and a giant of a hosta jade cascade, though I have to say it was quite badly damaged by the frost. The leaves were just at the wrong moment. And a monocarpic meconopsis at the back, looking quite magnificent. Another example of June, and they're just starting into flower is Meconopsis bailey alba. That's a clump. We gather the seed for the rest of the bailey alba in the garden, and we'll walk down towards this bank that we think of as new planting. We had a massive crocosmia that we thought was a good idea at the time. Looked good in autumn on this bank, but we've been trying to dig it out. Trying, yes, trying is a good word. It keeps coming back, but we're getting on top of it. Hopefully we'll have it eradicated soon. And we planted primulas, and of course meconopsis, both sides of the path. More meconopsis this side of the path. The rhododendrons just past their best, and we look down towards the stream and the primula planting at the bottom of the hill. Good afternoon from Kirklands, and we're down at by the stream, going to walk along our woodland pathway. This is some of the results of our propagating lots and lots of candelabra primulas. You'll see here we've done particularly well with the Primula japonica Miller's Crimson and Primula japonica Postford White, in amongst some of the meconopsis. The yellow primula I think is Primula prolifera, and the orange is Bulliana, and these are some of the meconopsis bailey alba that we grew from seed. The bailey alba did particularly well from seed last year's sowing, and the meconopsis. And here we have a tropiolum growing through a quite impressive viburnum. Rhododendron season is just coming to an end. The rhododendrons down at the bottom by the woodland were not really damaged by the late frost. Up closer to the house, a lot of frost damage on our rhododendrons. Here's a self-seeded viburnum. We have viburnum mauricii close by, and a viburnum plicatum growing well in the garden. The spaces are all the bluebells that looked magnificent a few weeks ago. Now look a little scruffy. Jill tries to tidy up madly behind the bluebells. You can see the meconopsis getting quite a display. And if we look, you can also see some foxgloves. Jill doesn't usually allow too many of the foxgloves to survive. Not her favourite plant, because they don't know when to stop. A few of the irises. This one we bought last year, I think is called White Swirls. A couple more irises down the bottom, a particular blue Sibirica that we've been dividing up. And as we walk down towards the stream, see again some of the results of the primula sowings from last year. Lots of different primulas. There's our little red bridge, and we'll look up towards the tree house with some more rhododendrons, viburnum, and lots of meconopsis looking good. Good afternoon again from Kirklands. Just been watching a couple of baby wrens chasing each other around by the stream. Didn't quite get them into the camera shot, but I think we'll just walk down towards the bog garden at Kirklands. We're now at this side of the stream. We have about 20 acres of naturally regenerating Scottish woodland. Lots of interesting trees. The garden is to this side, up to the tree house there, and the house at the top of the hill. Quite a bit of our gardening is on the slope, and we're very lucky to have this great water feature, the Saline Burn. And our bog garden is very much on a slope. Several springs on the hillside did it well, so we have Gunnera, we have Gunnera, we have Osmunda regalis, the royal fern there. And down beside the stream we have some plantings in raised beds. Some primulas, primula pulverulenta, primula orientiaca, some primula ceoboldii, the Getsafire, and a nice adiantum fern there. And as we move up this direction towards the well, some trilliums that have given their best last month. And here's our well. Needs a little tidying up, but a lovely, about 4 feet deep. According to the Fife archaeologists, this is a folly built by the Victorians. And I'll leave you with a view over towards the bridge and more shots of the primulas.